The history of the German language.
German is a West Germanic language in the area of the Roman Empire. It was spoken in Latin, and Latin about the Middle Age was the language that was used in the legal texts and religious. Until 1314 to 1347, Emperor Louis IV, who cared to teach the entire area with a common language, it used variants of each dialect that make up German standards so that everyone could understand each other, and with the passage of time this standard German was replacing Latin and religious and legal texts.
The German language, now spoken in Germany, Austria, parts of the Switzerland, and some adjacent areas, has gone through a long evolutionary process and shows many regional variations, dialects, the local speech. Vocabulary has changed as social conditions have changed, contacts with other countries through words, trade, migration, developing technologies.
In the Middle Age, around the 14th century, Latin was spoken in the area of the Roman Empire. In this area, there were several dialects such as Bavarian, Germanic, and Rhenish Francine. With the development of Christianity during the Roman era, literacy was the monopoly of the Roman Christian Church. Writing in the Roman Empire was the Latin, and with the collapse of the Roman Empire, writing and book culture was sustained in small pockets of education located in the monasteries.
Over the centuries, many borrowed words were introduced, especially the dominance of the Roman Catholic Church had a great influence on the German vocabulary. About 2000 before Christ, when groups of people moved northwest across the continent of Europe to the western part of the Baltic area to what is now Sweden and Denmark. Over the centuries, as they migrate, their language changed and eventually became what is referred to as a primitive Germanic. Primitive Germanic is a divide into three branches: North Germanic, East Germanic, West Germanic.
One of the first serious attempts to create a text in a Germanic language is the translation of the Bible from Greek into Gothic by Bishop Ulfilas, for which he devised a Gothic alphabet based on the Greek alphabet. By the end of the Middle Ages, serious attempts were made to create a standard German language, so that the regions could more easily communicate with each other. People live in isolated communities separate from one another. In this way, it is easy to see how dialects develop. The isolation of people also meant that a standard German language that could be used by the whole of the society didn't develop for several centuries, and then it was because there was a strong motivation to develop a commonly understood language.
The first stage of the period saw the church dominating the cultural life. The second stage was represented by an increase in the influence of a secular class dominated by professional mounted warriors, the knights, and finally by the growth of towns and territorial princes. A certain degree of stability and wealth were precursors for the development of literature and language.
Creation of a formal Germanic language was happening in many ways. One was the writing of the laws. German law had traditionally been an oral practice of oaths and prescribed gestures. As the writing and Latin influence began taking over, there appeared a change in the customs and practice of law.
The most important characteristic of this period is the development of a standardized writing language, followed by the standardization of the spoken language. As a result of this process, the standard German language has been given, which form the current and latest variant of the New High German. Latin was the spoken and writing language, therefore, it follows that the writing texts were originally from the Church. Eventually, Latin was used as the official language as well for laws and theatres. The gradual expansion of political, social, and commercial contacts required a common system of communication thought speaking and writing. German remained for a centuries a spoken medium in the forms of its dialects, and the first writing German was done in dialectical forms.